Hey everyone, Simon here. A quick October update on Bitcoin and its anticipated run-up at the end of the year. It's October 19th. And just a quick look at some of the astrological factors that may, we believe, contribute to a run-up in November, December. So let's get started. So first of all, currently, at the current price that Bitcoin is trading, at which Bitcoin is trading around $8,000, 63% of people holding Bitcoin are actually in the money. That means if they sold today, they would make some profit, whether they bought it at 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or $5, whatever. 63% of people currently holding Bitcoin are in the profit. By contrast, 16% of people holding Ethereum are in the money, and that sort of illustrates how this year, 2019, Bitcoin has had a nice rise, as evidenced by a number of things, mainly Rahu moving into Gemini and a couple other things I've talked about before. But the altcoins have not seemed to perform that well, and they're currently trading at about half of what they were a few months ago. So currently only 16% of Ethereum holders are in the money. All right, which means that they're still waiting. A lot of you guys, myself included, are still waiting for a rise. So in this video, we're going to look at when such a rise may come and what it might look like. So I've talked in previous sessions about when I believe the rise will come, and I think it is when Jupiter transits these points in Sagittarius. Now, this is a transit chart that may be a little bit difficult for you to understand, but this is the sidereal Sagittarius. And as you can see, here I'm going to take it back a few weeks to the beginning of November. And here is Jupiter in its track. So just pay attention to this Jupiter. And let's go day by day. See how it's approaching, and wham, right around November 4th, it enters Sagittarius. Now, one of the problems that even I didn't see earlier about Jupiter going through this sign is that it's going to be traveling super fast in the sky. So Jupiter in the sky has been very slow. It's been stationary. It's been going retrograde. Now, because it's closer to the sun is coming around, and it'll be actually combust for a good period of time, it also appears to move very quickly through the sky. And when a planet moves very quickly, it doesn't always give its full effects. So that real big positive effect that we were hoping from Jupiter, I was hoping from Jupiter transiting its own sign, is, in my opinion, going to be lessened a bit. So that big jump may not happen the way we are hoping, but it would be associated with volatility, because when a planet moves fast, it's like when anything moves fast, it kicks up a lot of dust. It leaves a lot of wake in its wake. It leaves a lot of confusion in its wake. So, but anyway, so here are some dates. So November 4th, Jupiter officially moves into Sagittarius. Now, very soon after that, just follow Jupiter here. I'm going to go forward day by day and just kind of, you can see Jupiter and Venus are going to be joined around November 24th, which is interesting. You always like a benefic in there. And then November 27th, Venus will conjoin Bitcoin's Pluto. Now, regardless of which Bitcoin chart you use, January 3rd, January 9th, doesn't matter. This is Bitcoin's Pluto position, because Pluto doesn't move much at all, which means that right around November 27th, Venus is going to conjoin Bitcoin's Pluto, which should be quite good. It's a benefic influence. And then about a month after that, a couple weeks after that, Jupiter will join Pluto's position right around the first or second week of December. So that again, now in Western astrology, which uses Pluto, Jupiter-Pluto combinations can be huge combinations for big money. Okay, so that's something that's generally positive. But at the same time, Saturn will also be on Bitcoin Sun. So it's like there's some huge positive news announcement, but also some negative news announcement at the same time. And we'll have to see which one is going to prevail. But it looks like probably the positive, the bullish news will be stronger. And it's holiday season and all that. And so this looks like a promising thing. And then let's see, as we go forward, let's go week by week, the following week. Then the sun will join Jupiter. There's Sun and Jupiter. I don't know if you can see, it's tiny on the screen. And Jupiter will be combust around December, right around Christmas. So why is this important? Well, let's take a look at that. Right around Christmas, Jupiter is going to move into Sagittarius right at 10 degrees. And between 10 to 13 degrees 20 is the sound in the sidereal zodiac associated with the sound B, B-I, as in Bitcoin. Now, for those of you who haven't followed me, when Saturn was in here, this is when and why I predicted the Bitcoin's price would go down around first kind of the beginning of 2018, because Saturn entered this, and then it went in, it went out, and it went back in, it went back out. It was doing a whole number. So people named Bill, companies that started with B, and things like Bitcoin suffered Saturn's effects of contraction. Now, that effect of contraction is also consolidation. It's also getting serious. Saturn actually wants you to succeed. He just knows that to succeed, you have to become serious. And so a part of becoming serious means becoming regulated. Saturn likes laws and regulations. Becoming responsible, right? And so all of those things were happening in 2018 and now in 2019. Now when Jupiter transits this, granted, it'll be a much shorter transit. It'll last maybe 2-3 weeks because Jupiter's moving so quickly. In fact, you can see how fast a planet moves by looking at its speed. This column here shows you the speed. So the sun moves about 1 degree a day. This is speed per day. The moon here will be moving 15 degrees a day. The moon will also be going super fast. The moon is anywhere between 13 to 14 degrees a day on average, but 15 is fast, man. 12 would be slow. So the sun never wavers, by the way. The sun is always a degree a day. Then Mars, this is about Mars's average speed, about 40. Well, this may also be a little on the fast side. This is fast for Mars too. I would on the fast side, but I think pretty average. Then Mercury's moving slowly. He usually moves faster than anyone else, except for the moon. So here he's moving 22 minutes a day, which is not typical. So typically Mercury is over a degree a day. Then there's Jupiter. So Jupiter's movement, average movement, I'm guessing here, I guess I should have looked this up earlier, but it's around 8 to about 12 minutes, I think, is normal average. Here you can see it's moving 14 minutes of arc per day, which is fast, very fast. So yeah, and then there's Venus and the rest of them. So anyway, and sorry, this is what a dork I am. This is actually in Bitcoin's chart, but by transit, you'll see it's not much different. So let's look at that by transit. I'm sorry, I was looking at Bitcoin's chart, but that's good. It's a good exercise. Okay, look at the sun moving at 1 degree a day. There's the moon moving average. Okay, so that was Bitcoin's chart. When Bitcoin was born, the moon was moving very quickly. Mars, average. Mercury, about average. Now here is Jupiter. This is now, October 19th, moving about average speed, about 10 minutes of arc per day. But watch what happens when we get to, let me pull this up here. When we get to a couple months from now, like November, December. Here we go. So as the weeks go forward, you could see Jupiter's speed is going to increase. Now it's up to 12. And now we're mid-November. Jupiter is at 13. Watch this. There's Jupiter now at 14, moving very fast. This is very fast for Jupiter. Will he get to 15 speed? No, that's about it, 14. So you could see basically through December, Jupiter is moving very fast. And January and end of November. So Jupiter will increase his speed. There's Mercury moving pretty quickly as well. Mars average, Moon average, Sun average. But Jupiter's speed, very fast here. Okay, what is my point in saying that? Is that in that Jupiter will transit 10 to 13 degrees, and let's actually show that. Here we go. Jupiter in Sagittarius at 10 degrees happens right around December 21st. Okay. Now, why am I bringing these dates up? Because I think the first couple of weeks of November are strong because Jupiter will hit Bitcoin's Pluto. The particular date, I think, is, when is it? I'll go back and look at it in a second. But then in December, Jupiter will enter the sound B, B-I. So that starts right around December 21st, and let's see how long it's going to last. Boom, it's gone. 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculously fast. There, Jupiter's at 13 degrees 20. It's moved past, so from 10 degrees to 13:20. That's the sound B. So Jupiter enters December 21st, and it will leave January 4th. So basically Christmas time and New Year's. Interestingly enough, at the same time, there's a major eclipses will be happening, particularly in Southeast Asia. And so events in Southeast Asia connected to Bitcoin may produce massive volatility, okay? Because eclipses strengthen the nodes. They make Rahu and Ketu much stronger. And when Rahu and Ketu are strengthened, crazy things happen, or can happen. So let's, so the first eclipse will be right around December 26th. And Jupiter will be smack dab in the middle of the sound B. And in fact, the eclipse will be happening right at that sound. So expect some major news right around and after Christmas, and between Christmas and New Year's, relative to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. Look at this. Just look at how much massive activity is happening in Sagittarius. You've got Pluto, Saturn. Here, let me move my cursor so you could see it in the South Indian chart as well. You've got here, Pluto, Saturn, Ketu, Jupiter, Sun, Moon, Mercury, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets if you count Pluto. That's a lot. That's a lot of activity, a lot of focus on one thing, on one place, okay? So big stuff happening right around December 26th. Then the second eclipse will be 2 weeks later. when the moon goes opposite. And so let's basically go, nope, yeah, right there, right around January 10th. So, and I mentioned this is happening in these will be visible over Southeast Asia because there may be events there that trigger stuff that is relevant to Bitcoin. And look at that, Saturn exactly conjunct Pluto. There's a big stuff happening in the heavens. Okay, so then what are the dates to look out for? First of all, November. November, Jupiter actually moves into Sagittarius. So let's look at Bitcoin's chart again. Let's look at it from the standpoint of transits. And let's just go back to November 1st. Here we go, October 31st. So the first day to sort of keep in mind around November, the first week of November, November 4th, 5th, around there. Then about a couple weeks later, we have Venus and Jupiter will transit the Pluto. So that's at the end, well, let's see, Jupiter will actually transit Pluto right around December 11th. Okay, so to me, December 11th, so that first and second week of December, also key, good news. But then the final week of December is when things just go nuts. From Christmas onwards. You got Sun and Jupiter conjunct. Jupiter is moving super fast. The Sun is combusting everything. There's an eclipse happening. Saturn is conjunct Bitcoin Sun. Look, honestly, it doesn't sound great, but it just sounds like there's huge, but it could produce huge spikes. Okay, and so if you're looking to cash out, perhaps mid-November through the end of the year look like good times. How does the next year look? Well, there's great stuff happening next year. Jupiter will conjunct, look at this, Jupiter going forward will actually conjunct Bitcoin Sun, which is very positive. That's February, March of next year, just before Bitcoin's halving. So expect some volatility at the end of this year. Could be a huge run up, then it could be a dip, and then February, March, April, it could start to go up again. Who knows? I mean, this stuff is, it's crazy to try to predict it, but the period during which Jupiter will be in the B sound, that period is, well, I think you can rewind the video. I did mention the dates, but let me just go there again. That period is, there it is. So from December 21st through January 4th, right? Those 2 weeks, right in between the eclipses. Man, this looks crazy. So look for those times and just kind of, grab a good hold and ride it out. It should be a wild rodeo. So I hope some of this was useful for you. And if you're one of those 63% people in the money, consider November, December as a time to take some gains perhaps. And if you're waiting for the small coins, let them ride and see what happens at the end of the year and the beginning of next year. All right. Thank you. And I hope you guys, hope this makes you money and success and all and happiness and all these things. Okay. That's my goal in putting this forward and nothing else. I'm not trying to be a, super predictor or anything else because just because we can never know 100% what the future holds. All right. Take care. All the best. Bye for now. Hari Om.